Welcome back to CryptosRus. I am George. We're all George. ETF inflow. Yesterday was actually a good day. Again, right now, Wall Street doesn't really know what it wants. It's behaving just like retail investors right now. One day you sell, one day you buy, one day you panic sell, another day you FOMO in. Like yesterday. Yesterday started out really good. Wall Street took in 223 million. BlackRock flip-flopped 193 versus the day before 134 outflow, right? That great numbers. Great numbers yesterday. Ethereum also not bad. 57.6 million inflow, mostly from BlackRock. And Solana had no numbers. I don't know if it's just delayed or they didn't get it, but like I've been saying, sometimes Wall Street is just like retail. They don't know. They're panicking. They panic sell one day and then they panic buy the other day. They don't quite know what to make of things sometimes. They're very reactionary. You would think that most of them have a vision and they're long-term holders, but no, a lot of them are just traders. Just like they just look at the news, they digest the data, like how I'm doing or how you guys are doing, and they just make irrational decisions at times. But, you take the good with the bad, right? Because when FOMO hits, and it always does, that's when you see the money flow in, just like with retail investors. It's always like that. But yeah, that's what happened yesterday. What else? The Satoshi Nakamoto statue arrives at New York Stock Exchange. This is courtesy of 21 Capital, Jack Mahler's new company, and this is what it looks like. I don't know why this is considered Satoshi Nakamoto's statue. Doesn't really portray him. No one really knows what he looks like. People are just assuming that he's just hunched over programming a laptop. I don't even know. No one even knows if that's the case or if he's wearing a hoodie. I don't know, but it's there. It's there. These 21 Capital just debuted on the New York Stock. Is it New York Stock Exchange? And they are the third largest Bitcoin treasury company now, and they plan on becoming first and topping even Michael Saylor. But who knows? Let's see if they can accomplish it. Bank of America is now issuing credit backed by Bitcoin. Every single bank is still jumping aboard, offering services, offering trading, custody, credit. Now, this is what Saylor was saying. Every single bank have reached out to him, and the purpose is to discuss Bitcoin and see what they could do with it, right? And we're hearing more and more about that every single day. This is part of the growing fundamentals that really matters. To a lot of people, it may not matter, but this shows the maturity of Bitcoin and how the adoption continues to rise. And it's important. It's important. This is building the foundation, right? You have to build, you have to grow, you have to expand. Otherwise, the money is not going to keep on coming in. Coinbase says Eurozone countries will start buying Bitcoin. There's more and more countries that are looking to embrace Bitcoin in a big way, make a reserve, a Bitcoin reserve, and other things like bonds backed by Bitcoin. And obviously, regulators around the world are also becoming more crypto friendly each and every day. So again, part of the maturity process that Bitcoin is going through, and this is building a foundation that's stronger than ever. Never seen this kind of fundamentals ever in any period of time for Bitcoin other than right now. It's important. It's important. And despite what the fudders may want you to think, even after this correction, most of Bitcoin supply is still in profit. It may shock some people to hear that, even sitting at 90K. But most of the supply is still in profit. And that's because people have forgotten how bad it was last year or the year before that, right? Even though it may feel like it's crypto winter or a bear market, most of the supply is still in profit. How much? 67% versus the 46% that we saw during the bear market of 2022. Take a second and think about that. A lot of you guys are long-term holders, so you're not panicking. You have seen worse. You have been DCAing. But for those of you guys that are new, this is what happens. Okay, price of emission is volatility. If Bitcoin never went down, then everyone would be billionaires already. But how is wealth made? How are gains made? You buy low and you sell high. So you got to take these moments. You got to think about them carefully, right? Is this the time to be panic dumping, or is this the time to be loading up? Take a second, think about that. We are just one push away from a huge recovery, the next big move, right? We're one push away. There's so many signs, so many signals that show we are. There are so many of them. Despite what some may say. Okay. I believe Bitcoin is going to continue to push forward in 2026. And I'll show you some reasons. For example, this recent dip we had closed out another CME gap. We always have these CME gaps that we have to fill. Okay, it always seems like we're filling the downside, but there are upside gaps we have not filled yet. But I didn't even know this one existed. But this 90K gap, once again, filled. We also have data like this. Short-term holders capitulating. It happened back in March and April when Bitcoin fell down to the low 70s. People were also very bearish. Thought the cycle already ended. That was earlier this year. That wasn't last year. That was earlier this year. That was about, 6 months ago, 7 months ago. We had that phase where short-term holders did not believe, capitulated left, and then guess what? We continued forward and made a new high. It feels just like that. Just like that. And back then, we were worried about tariffs and all this economic stuff, how the economy is doing so bad. And guess what? We flipped above, right?